That's quite not bad, yeah.
Calling to order the February 13th Foxfire Village meeting. Council is present, as well as members of the audience. There are no absentees. I'd like to have a moment of silence. Okay, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time now, we're opening a public hearing. This is public hearing number 1. This is for ordinance 2024-05.
Mayor, we did finish the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I'll make a motion to open.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so public hearing is open for ordinance 2024-05, which is, basically this it's changes to particular uses and areas in the village. So I guess at this time, if there's any comments on this ordinance from the public,
I just have one quick question.
please come up to the podium, state your name and address. This is accessory building is one of them, yes.
Sue Manley, 41 Cardinal Drive, here in Foxfire. This is a quick question. I think it's pretty, just wanted to verify. I can get the right number. 200502337. It says Richmond Road South.
Oh, wait,
Wrong hearing.
this is not for that public hearing. We're not doing that till later. That's the
Oh.
rezoning,
Okay, all
no
right.
problem. This is basically regarding accessory buildings,
Okay.
temporary structures. Okay, so Tasha is not here. I was gonna have Tasha go
I'm gonna
through.
brief it. I can do it, I mean, I
Okay.
voted, so.
We could, or I could do it, it doesn't matter, but, go ahead, Mary.
Well, with accessory buildings, all we're doing is increasing from 300 to 400 square feet, the amount of allowable space in an accessory building in, is it lots 1 acre, less than 1 acre, and up to 1.99 acres.
Right.
We had increased, accessory square footage to 800 in a larger lot size, so we just went back and thought that this just gives people a little more flexibility and a little more storage room, that's all it was.
Right. And there are a few other changes in this as well.
You want me to roll through all of them?
Well, we probably,
There's not a lot, I mean, there's not a lot.
Tasha and I met the other day and we were talking about section 21.8.1.2. That's also within our village code, so it's really not necessarily how within the zoning.
so we're basically deleting certain things that are redundant with the code.
Well, this was new, we didn't have anything addressing temporary structures, but I think you probably have a good point. If it's in our code, it doesn't need to be in our ordinance.
Right, what this ordinance, the amendment does is it renumbers it. It moves it down so that we can put in temporary structures as that number, because it falls right under accessory. Get it kind of in line, but if we can eliminate or completely delete travel trailers, recreational vehicles, boats, buses, that would be,
Oh, renumbered.
Because that's already in the zoning.
yes, we're in
Yeah.
the code.
Yep.
So, well, before, I know we're explaining this to the public basically, correct? Okay. So we're not discussing
No.
the technicalities of this, And then temporary structures, we're going through and we're adding temporary structures.
Yeah, we don't really have anything in the zoning right now that addresses temporary structures, and we've got some we gotta deal with. So what we did was we just wrote something that allows people to have a temporary structure for 90 days. It's a permit, it's a no-cost permit, and Lisa will do it. We put some setback, we put some placement language in there, and then we also limited the size of the structure to 300 square feet.
Right, like the dumpsters or whatever, storage
Yeah,
buildings or
storage,
whatever.
mostly I think it's
Right.
storage buildings.
Right,
And then this section doesn't apply to temporary structures used in new construction. They are, talked about in a different part of the UDO.
right. Right, and then we added a definition for a temporary structure. Which is a portable structure that is designed to be taken to a site and left for a short duration and then moved to another location or storage. Okay. So that's the gist of this ordinance change. So if there's no further comments from the public on this, we're gonna close this public hearing. Okay? So, yes, I'd like
Make a motion to close.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, you second. Okay, so now, now what we need to do is we need to vote on, or discuss this further, if there are any further discussions at the council level on this ordinance.
I just had one question about the temporary structures. What are we doing about structures that have been up for a period of time now, let's say years, that fall in this category?
Do you have an example of it, of,
Yes,
Yeah, we have one, but I would think once it becomes an ordinance, they get a letter.
okay,
saying that they
Yeah,
get a permit?
exactly, and then they have
Okay.
whatever the time is.
okay,
Yeah.
just curious.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I have no other questions.
Anyone else on the council have any questions regarding this, changes?
No.
Nothing? Okay, I didn't have any additional comments on this. Okay, so, so this proposed zoning ordinance, 2024-05, is consistent with the applicable elements of the Foxfire Village Land Use Plan and Long Range Plan, and are reasonable and in the public interest in order to provide clear and consistent guidance to property owners. I'd like to make a motion that we vote on that as a council. Do we agree that this ordinance change complies with that consistency statement?
Yes,
So we have a motion,
I'll make a motion.
second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're in favor that it is consistent with the,
Right.
with the, land use plan. So now we vote on this. Okay.
Adopting the ordinance.
So now we need
Yes.
to vote on adopting the ordinance, 2024-05.
Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, okay. So that's that change. Moving on to the next, do I have to, I close this public
Oh,
hearing?
no, this is already closed. Now you just
Okay.
open the next one.
Now I open the next one. Okay, now I'm making a motion to open public hearing number 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, so this this ordinance change is, this is the family subdivision ordinance. So are there any comments from the public? I'm gonna start with that. On the family subdivisions. Okay, at this point, there's no comments from the public. And we talked about this, if anyone remembers of the RA5, when we rezoned, the ETJ and the family subdivision, there was a lot of, discussion regarding subdivisions of less than 5 acres in the event of family. And this language basically covers that. And what I'll read is, again, as far as family subdivisions, it says the family and limited subdivision exception is established for the creation of lots for residential purposes. These subdivisions are only authorized for properties in the Foxfire Village ETJ, which are zoned RA5. Family subdivisions exception is for the creation of lots which are to be deeded only to immediate family members and cannot be deeded or resold to a person who is not an immediate family member for at least 3 years from the date the lot is established. For the purpose, and one thing that I'd like to mention is that most of this language is consistent with the county language. So we're not changing anything from the county for property that is not in the
It wasn't a
ETJ.
complete cut and paste, but
Right,
pretty
it's,
close.
it's for a lot of the, for a lot of this it is. So the purpose of this subsection, immediate family members are husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, children, biological, adopted, or step, grandmothers, grandfathers, grandchildren, biological, adopted, or step, and aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews, again, copied from the county. And there's a lot of these requirements are basically, you have to have a driveway, it has to be either on a road, or you have to have an easement to the property. If you have shared wells or shared waterways, you need agreements, and again, that's all county, items. And there's documents that are needed as far as deeds and, maps, septic suitability, and all of that. Then, so that's the family subdivision. Then we have limited subdivisions, and the limited subdivision exception is established for creation of lots on tracts which are greater than 7 and less than 10 acres. So, if you recall, the RA5 says that our subdivisions will be 5-acre minimums. And basically, we're saying that if you, only lots greater than 7 acres and less than 10 will be considered for exception. And the proposed limited subdivision cannot result in more than 2 lots, including the original lot. One lot must be at least 5 acres, and the minimum size of the second lot must be at least 2 acres. Each lot must have existing road or share or a new or existing easement. And if there's shared waterways, that's all the same. It's basically saying that, again, we're trying to maintain that 5-acre minimum. And that's about it with this.
Can I say something?
Mhm.
The reason planning and zoning, this is not from the county. I mean, the water, the shared road and all that kind of stuff comes from the county. But planning and zoning wanted to be sure that when we did RA5, we minimized any negative impact on people who are in that 7 to 10. I mean, that's still a fairly decent sized piece of property, but they couldn't really split into 2-5. So this is why we came up with limited.
Mm-hmm, yes, yeah. Okay, so, that's the background on this, ordinance change. Public comments, still open. Okay. Mhm. So I make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, now, motion to adopt the consistency statement. Someone wanna make a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So the consistency, this proposed zoning ordinance amendment is consistent with applicable elements of Foxfire land use plan and long-range plan and are reasonable and in the public interest in order to provide clear and consistent guidance to property owners. Are we in agreement with that? Make a motion to vote on that?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed? So now we need a motion to adopt this ordinance 2024-06.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? Okay, so this is motion to open our next public hearing, regarding ordinance 2024-07. And this is the municipal zoning district.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public hearing is now open. Any comments from the public? Okay, being no public comments, we'll just go over a brief recap of this. This is basically an ordinance to change village-owned property to something called a municipal zoning district. So we're basically adding a new zoning district. And the reasons for this is because a lot of the municipal-owned properties, specifically our well sites, don't conform with residential zoning rules. So that's the biggest thing with this. Certain fencing might be needed that isn't allowed in other zoning districts. Fuel tanks might be needed in other areas. So it's the park, it's our property here, the fire department, water tower, and there's 17, basically 17 different properties that would fall under this new zoning district. We're not at that part yet, but we're just talking about the municipal zoning district. The other, that's about the biggest, I don't think there's any other. There's no other real big differences in this, correct, Mary?
Not really.
It's just a new zoning district. We wanna update our table that has MUN is going to be the acronym for this
Yep.
municipal district.
Most other villages have some kind of government or municipal district.
Right,
Not that we need to be like everybody else.
right. So any comments from the public on this? No? Okay, so I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So do we have any discussion on this at all, the council? I've read it and I have no comments. Okay. So now I'm making a motion, to adopt the consistency statement, which says that this is consistent with the applicable elements of Foxfire Village Land Use Plan and Long Range Plan and are reasonable and in the public interest in order to provide clear and consistent guidance to property owners.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? All right, so let's vote on this. Let's vote on the approval of this ordinance 2024-07, which is adding the municipal zoning district.
I make a motion.
Second.
You already do that.
Oh,
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, I was a little confused
Okay, now I'm making a motion to open our last public hearing. This is for 2024-08, and it's an ordinance to rezone certain properties to this MUN zoning district in Foxfire Village. So I'm making, someone second that?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the public hearing is now open for the for this rezoning of properties to MUN, municipal zoning.
Is that
Did
the
you have
one
a
we got the
question?
letter on?
So, if there's any questions from the audience?
Is that the one we got
Yes.
the letter on?
Yep.
Alright. I just kinda wanna know, Sue Manley, 21 Cardinal Drive in Foxfire. I just wanted to know kind of what this means, and, 200500237, I believe, is the park.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So, what does this mean?
well, number one, the park is owned by the, village, so
Right.
it's being zoned to municipal zoning. In the past, I believe it was in the, what was it in the village business?
No,
What was it in,
I think it was it RS?
or RD?
It was
Was it
recreation.
Oh, it was, no, it was RD. It used to be RS, and then we changed it to RD,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So basically, we're not changing anything in the park, it's just a piece of property that was owned by the village.
Right.
So,
Still is.
and it still is owned by the village.
Right. Now, can that park be used by the general public? It can it?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay, all right,
yes.
thank you.
Haven't
That's all I
changed
need
that.
to know.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Okay. Seeing there's no further public comment, I'm gonna make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So the consistency statement, that this rezoning ordinance, this rezoning is consistent with applicable elements of Foxfire Village Land Use Plan, Long Range Plan, and are reasonable and in the public interest in order to provide clear and consistent guidance to property owners. Someone wanna second that?
Second.
Opposed?
I know, it's been a long day already.
It has. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, so now I'll make a motion to vote on the ordinance itself, which is 2024-08, which is rezoning properties to the NUN district.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so this is approved.
It'll be recorded tomorrow, those documents, so.
This will be all of these changes will be recorded.
Rezoning will.
Oh, the rezoning.
It's a nice map too, Lisa.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, Lisa Kibbe
Turned out good.
did an amazing amount of work, because people don't realize how much work goes into this.
A lot.
Now that we've got this last rezoning done, we're gonna do our whole map.
Oh,
Hallelujah.
so these will all be redone, right?
Oh, I have to go to the county,
But they'll get,
Yeah.
yeah,
finally.
it's been a while.
Okay. So now, we're done with public hearings. We're done with that work. Now we get to our agenda for our meeting.
Yep.
So, do we have any changes to the agenda? Okay. So I wanna make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None being, okay. Okay, so now we're public comment period. What did I not do?
The approval of the regular agenda, and then your consent is after that, so.
Oh, the minutes, I'm sorry.
So your consent,
I just did the consent
the
agenda.
the regular, the one right above that, the approval of the February 13th.
Oh, approval of,
You gotta do something there, sorry.
I have to do what?
You've got to approve the February 13th agenda as written or amended if you make changes to it, and then the consent agenda is a separate vote.
Okay. So we have approval of the agenda for the February 13th meeting. Make a motion, Jen.
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Now do we have to do the consent agenda?
We just did the consent, we did the consent agenda.
Okay.
Okay, public comment on anything not listed on this agenda? There's no public comments for anything not on this agenda? Okay. Let's move on to the zoning report.
This report covers activities from January 10th through today. Currently, 42 homes are under construction, or the beginning stages of lot clearing. During this period, I approved 6 single-family resident applications. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 on Fort Lee Circle and Windy Ridge, one on Hoffman Road, one Forest Lake Drive, and one in Grand Pines on Windswept Vista. 7 certificate of zoning compliance were issued, all for homes on Cortland Circle, so there were 7 of them. And other permits issued, there were 2 propane tank, 2 fence, 1 swimming pool, and 1 accessory structure.
You've been busy.
Yeah, it's busy month. And Ridge.
Wow, so they completed 7 homes? Wow.
And
They
they
have-
already got occupancy
Yeah.
on,
Oh, yeah.
how many, 4?
Yep.
Got that.
I think in 4 are already occupied.
Any questions for Lisa?
No,
No?
thanks for your hard work.
Okay. Mary Gilroy, Councilman Gilroy.
Yes. The monthly money report. When you look at cash balances from January 31st to 2024, it tells us in the general fund balance on hand today, $3,083,418.53. It tells us, in the water fund that we've got $1,187,986,000. I didn't say that right, $1,187,986.82. What these numbers don't reflect is the $223,000 that was taken out and moved to First Bank for New Well, okay? So that's all set up, that takes care of the money. And then I just wanna bring everybody up to speed. Janice and I and Sharon have been talking to the county about Moore County doing our property tax collection. And I think if you ask Lisa and Sharon how many hundreds of phone calls they've gotten from property owners who didn't like it that they got 2 bills instead of 1, this could be a good win for us. It's gonna take a lot of work off the finance officer. Moore County, if we're gonna use them for the 24-25 year, would like us to have a contract in place with them by the 1st of April. So I don't know if we wanna go through it more thoroughly. The work session is pretty straightforward. They collect 99%. It means that our residents would get 1 bill, which I think, coming here from Illinois, we always only got 1 bill. It was huge, but we only got 1 bill.
Yeah.
Be glad, man.
Boy, it was big.
It was grande. The county takes a 2% quote commission off the amount that we collect, okay? Which for us is probably gonna be in the $15,000 to $16,000 range. They will not collect delinquent accounts. So anyone that we have who's delinquent, for 2023 and backwards, we will need to continue to collect those. But that's a very small, that's a pretty small number. So I don't know if there's anything else we wanna discuss about it. It's gonna loosen up a lot of time for the finance officer. That's gonna be good. And the other thing is this, people can also pay with a credit card if they pay the county, which they cannot do with us.
Right. Well, yeah, I just have, when you talk about it's gonna cost us between 15 and, or 2% of the tax
Yeah.
collected. What a lot of people may or may not know is it currently costs us just in software, billing, postage, it's probably close to $4,000. Just in the technical aspects of
Getting it out.
billing the taxes, getting the data downloads, having our software updated to produce all those bills. And then, of course, the time, I would say that our current tax collector, Sharon, probably spends a good 30 to 60 days per year doing this, consumed with tax collecting. And that's roughly about $10,000 of her time right there. So, if not more. So we're looking at, really, we're probably at break even. It will cost us nothing, and we might even be ahead of the game. Between postage, papers,
Yeah.
forms,
And-
everything.
And as the village continues to grow and you have more residences, I don't know, there are only 2 municipalities in the county that don't let Moore County collect for them, us and Pine Bluff.
Mhm.
So they must be doing it right, or the other 9 municipalities wouldn't be doing it.
Well, and again, at 99%, they do carry probably a bigger stick when it comes to collection,
Yeah.
more clout,
Yeah, I think so.
with the collection
Yeah.
of back property taxes
Yep, I
as
think
well.
so too.
So, I think this is a good idea. We do have to sign a contract, but we don't have that contract in front of us, and
No.
probably
I
the
can
work
get it.
session.
Yeah,
we can
if I
go
bring it to
through
the
it.
work session and we just go yes and sign it, then I think we need to get it to them so we can get it off Sharon's plate and get it over to them.
Yeah, I think we need to do that.
All right,
Do it,
I'm gonna do it.
do
I'm
it,
gonna get it.
do it.
Get her done.
question I have is that the breakdown, the actual bill still be broken down between the counties and
Yeah,
our.
yeah, they've gotta
That's
show
still
you,
the
yeah,
case.
they've gotta show you that there's a difference between the county and the village.
Okay,
It'll kind of look like your vehicle tax, you know, how it has the county and Foxfire and,
okay.
So is this sheet the tax delinquency that we have, or?
those are the people who have not paid as of yet, but that's not, that's current.
Current? Okay.
Current. And a
Okay.
lot of the current ones are also old ones, but most of those people end up paying. Most
Oh,
of them.
okay.
That $33,000 number that we, still have outstanding will go down, I think, pretty substantially.
Okay,
Yeah, the delinquent, it's not a lot of money, it's more properties than you would think, but it's not a lot of money on the older
Yeah.
pieces.
okay. And Sharon was usually following up, having to follow up on all of this.
She follows up, yes, she has
So
to
that's
send
about
out
the time,
letters,
like,
she's
yeah.
gotta do the advertising.
Yeah.
Right, so there's a
There
lot
are
of time
certain,
like that.
yes, there are certain things that we will still have to do, and we're still hammering some of those fine points out. There's a few things that we're still gonna have to do, but it's gonna be extremely less,
Right, well, just time
Definitely
saving.
worth paying for.
Definitely.
Definitely.
right?
Now, if they do pay by credit card, is it like your vehicle tax where they charge a percentage
Yes.
or just
It's probably a flat fee, I think it's like $3 a bill or something,
yeah, okay.
if I'm
Alright.
not mistaken.
Well, it'd be a lot handier for people, I guess.
Get those points.
Get those
Those rewards, those
Yeah.
rewards.
air miles.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that's it, Erin?
That's it, yep.
Okay, on
Thank
to streets and parks, Councilman Norman.
Okay, I'm confused here. Okay. Oh, Spectrum. All right, so, good news. Guess what's up and running? Spectrum. But I do wanna say if Spectrum could screw it up, they did. I spent 2 days just last week from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night and, trying to get everything up and running. We had 3 buildings that we had to do, so if you think it's tough for your house, try doing 3 buildings. It's not the same person. Phone lines were cut, Spectrum line was cut, went to the pool, they hadn't connected the cable at all. But eventually we got it done.
Hmm,
So we do now have, Village Hall, the police department, and the pool, so I can get the, security cameras at the pool up and running now.
great.
So, yeah, it took, what was this, we started back in November, I think, to do this.
So the day that our internet was out here, that was due to a line being cut?
That was Brightspeed.
Okay,
And it was very ironic, Spectrum cut Brightspeed's line, and then Brightspeed was burying their line. I don't know if you noticed, it was hanging over the road, and then that tree out there was tied into the tree.
no, I didn't see
Oh,
that.
yeah, I did. And then it was kind of just laid across the grass over to the police department, and, they finally came out, and as they were burying it, they cut the Spectrum line.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, I sent an email to Brightspeed going, was this kind of payback or what? So yeah, I had to get Spectrum out to come back, and they did find the cut, fortunately, and were able to repair it and get us up and running, but yeah, this whole thing was such a challenge, I couldn't believe it, but it's done. But I will be getting the money back on the installation charges they wanna charge us.
Well, that's good.
I have to wait till the first bill though.
Then have to bill it before you don't pay it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we get credit, but yeah. Anyway, I will never volunteer to do something like that again.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
okay.
Other than that, I'm done.
Any questions for Janet? No? Moving on to public safety, Councilman Massey.
Okay, with us today is our, fire chief, Eric Stromberg. He's gonna give us yearly report on the fire department.
Thank you all. I was hoping we were gonna have PowerPoint that I could show you up there, but And I apologize, it's small, but I tried to save a couple trees.
Oh, thank you.
We got our glasses on, I think all of us. Thanks. Wait, I have to.
And I can send this to you digitally if you
Okay.
wanna put it on the website.
Sure.
Bear with me just one second, let me bring it up here so I can talk about it. I'm Eric Stromberg, I'm the fire chief at West End Fire Department. I try to do this more because we have a couple new council people, but mainly to make sure that everybody's aware of kind of what we do, what happened in 2023, and kind of what our plans are for moving forward. A little bit about the department, founded in 1956. We have two stations, our main station up at Highway 73 and 211. The Foxfire station, we call Station 65, right down here behind us. We're a combination department, meaning that we have full-time paid people and we have volunteers. I'm a volunteer fire chief. I've got a paid deputy fire chief and two volunteer assistant chiefs. And then we have captains and lieutenants and about 38 volunteers that have varying abilities and various availability based off their work schedules and where they're at in life. We have 6 full-time firefighters. They work a 24-hour on, 24-hour off for 3 shifts, and then they get 96 hours off. That equates to about 2,800 hours per year that they are truly working. We also have a part-time firefighter at the main station Monday or 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So during the daytime or the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., there's always 3 firefighters on duty. When we go to 7 p.m. till 7 a.m., we go down to 2, but then you have the volunteers that kind of help fill in behind that. Thankfully, we are a Class 3 fire department. We obtained that last July, went into effect. And what that means is for your homeowner's insurance, it basically should save you on your homeowner's insurance. Basically, a Class 10 are areas that are outside of 6 miles from a rated fire department. Class 9 or a rated fire department is anything that is 1 to 5 miles, and then you have a Class 9 area that is from 5 to 6 miles. So any structure within 5 road miles, not as the bird flies, but road miles of our 2 fire departments are getting a Class 3 rating. For homeowners, you probably saw anywhere from $30 to maybe $50, $60, depending on the value of your house, savings. We did have a couple that were incorrectly listed. They had Candor Fire Department down here on Richmond Road listed as their primary fire department. The Department of Insurance had to correct that. We had sent out a fund drive letter earlier this fall. I highly recommend you call your homeowners insurance carriers and find out what they have you rated as. We have some people that have had ratings that were 2 ago, so when we were at Class 6. So it's something that it can save you some money. So that's important. So anything in the village of Foxfire, and really anything other than when we get close to Thunder Road within our jurisdiction here should be a Class 3, and that's important. So again, that rating went into effect on July 1st of last year. Little bit about the fire department. We respond to all calls, and what I mean by that, fire, rescue, EMS. All of our full-time staff are our EMTs. So a lot of times people ask, why do we respond to all medical calls? It can be anything from a stub toe to CPR in progress or an overdose. We respond to all because the closest EMS units to the village are Seven Lakes, Pinehurst, or Aberdeen, approximately 11 to 12 miles from this area. The response time then is about 12 to 15 minutes for somebody to get here. Whether we have somebody here at the West End station, we're able to get down here typically in about 5 to 7 minutes. So the reason why we respond to all is to make sure we're getting care to the patient as quickly as possible. But there's also times where we get calls for a lift assist. Somebody needs help getting up. That allows us to get there quickly. We can turn other resources around to keep them available in the county. For those that might listen to a scanner, on an almost daily basis, the county runs out of EMS trucks. Or units are going from Robbins to here, from Northmore Road to here, we're going, departments are going from here up to Northmore. They move the trucks around where the calls are and where incidents are occurring. So it's important to know that we're one of 3 departments, us, High Falls, and Whispering Pines, still run all calls. Other departments have chosen to go away from that, but we have been of the belief because of the village and because years ago when we went to a countywide fire tax, the county commissioner said that you would not lose any service even though they went to a countywide fire tax. So we believe that we're going to continue to do that. There's not a reason for us not to do that. Sorry, let me move up. A little bit about what we do, what the services that we provide to Foxfire, because this is a satellite station, a substation of our main station. We provide, down there, that little building there is an engine. It has a 20-year lifespan. The current replacement value is $731,000. That's unequipped. We have a tanker, one that we just purchased this past year. It's got a 25-year lifespan. Its cost to us was $326,000, unequipped. We have a brush truck, has an 18-year lifespan, $128,000 value. A QRV, which is basically what we use mainly for medical calls, quick response vehicle, has a 10-year lifespan, $62,000. And then we do store one of our boats down here. We have 3 boats. We keep one down here so that the person here can hook up and bring it to us if we do have a water rescue in the area. We also have all the required equipment, jaws of life on our engine, air packs, hose, nozzles, all of that. So all of that is on all the trucks. We cover the annual costs. Like anything, there are annual costs for maintenance, pump testing, ladder testing, air pack testing that we have to stay up with. We cover the cost of the utilities for the Foxfire station with the exceptional water. Thank you for being kind with that. We participate in multiple community events. This past year we participated in Trunk or Treat, the 4th of July fireworks. I guess we didn't do those. The 4th of July parade, the Christmas golf cart parade, and then we started one this year which got good reviews, I think, which is the Santa Express. I know that for the first year it was probably scary for some people because they weren't expecting it. But we hope that next year we can get the word out a little bit better, but that people will actually be waiting for us and asking when is it going to be. The benefit of that event was, one, it's not just for the kids. It's for our older people that may not have somebody local. The amount of faces that we would see smiling and excited were immense. But we also collected between all of our events over 800 pounds of food that we gave to food pantries. We got 5 trucks full of toys, pickup trucks, beds full of toys that we gave to Toys for Tots. Thank you. We also, right before Christmas, we had a working structure fire in Seven Lakes West. The family lost everything. We were able to allow them to basically come into a pantry type thing. Anything you want is yours, within reason. But it really did go well, and I think that most people were happy. We did have a couple of people that complained, but to be honest, one of them was a recent widow who lost her husband, and the last thing she remembers is hearing sirens. So I can appreciate the feeling, the anxiety that we may have given. So again, what we're going to try to do next year is make sure that we get the word out a little bit earlier, and more than just on Facebook. Try to get it out in e-blasts and stuff like that. We conduct annual inspection and flow testing of the hydrants. I'll be getting up with you about the program with the hydrants. This is part of our ISO rating and readiness. We open up every hydrant in the village. We clean around it. We make sure that it's flowing. One of the things that we talked about with Jesse was we actually have the GPS locations for all of that. So we've been able to provide that information to help with the study that you're getting ready to do. But it becomes really important because about 3 or 4 years ago, we opened up the hydrant in front of the clubhouse. The valve snapped. So if we ever had an incident there, exercising the valves is important. So we do that, and we do it twice a year. Once a year, we flow water. We get pressures. The other time of year, we do a basic visual inspection, make sure everything is there. But again, with weeds and stuff like that, we clean around it. We try to keep about a 6-foot range around all hydrants. It sounds funny, but some of the hydrants that are set off the road, when you have a nice flower bed that goes out like this, You can't see it when you're driving down the road. We like to get it to 180 degrees so we can see it from both directions. And other things that we do for our staff, and these are things that have changed over the years. We provide insurance. 5 years ago, we did not provide insurance to our members. They had to get their own insurance. We had, basic apparatus and building and stuff like that, but medical, short-term disability, long-term disability, that was not something that was part of a volunteer department. So we're not municipal, so we don't have some of the benefits of other municipal departments. We work with the council and, in terms of storm preparedness, disaster preparedness. When we know that there's a hurricane coming or a tropical storm, we make sure that we get our trucks fueled up, our chainsaws ready. We'll go out during the storms and we'll drive through the community. We do what we call cut and shove. We make sure the roads are open. We're not trying to get the entire roadway. It may only be 8 feet so we can get a fire truck through. 2 years ago, we had the winter storm down here. I think we ran 30-some calls that were just in Foxfire, just about trees. So that's a service that we provide. We don't clean up, I'm sorry. If the tree is on the house, we'll get it off the house, but you're gonna have to deal with some of the other things. We provide fire prevention programs at the local elementary and middle schools. As part of fire prevention, first week in October, we go out to all the elementary schools. We do the whole stop, drop, and roll. Do you test your smoke detectors, things like that. We give all the kids hats and little goodie bags that hopefully they take back to their homes. But there are a lot of kids down here in Foxfire that go to the different schools, so we touch as many of those as possible. We conduct an annual open house at our main station. We've done them down here. I'm always open to working, and I may get up with FPOA and see about doing some events with them. We also, from this station and from the main station, we respond what we call automatic aid to other departments. When we have a structure fire, and this is an issue that came up at the county commissioners meeting last week, when we have a structure fire, it's not just West End that's coming. You're getting Pine Bluff, you're getting Pinehurst, you may get Aberdeen, you may get Seven Lakes. The goal there is depending on where it is, and if we have water supply hydrants, or we don't, the amount of people that will come to help. So same thing where they come to help us, we go to help them on a regular basis. And I'll talk about that in a minute. We are the heavy rescue for vehicle extrication and technical rescue for the western region of the county. We are also the western region of the county water rescue team. So whether it's a pond here on the golf course, or if it's Lake Almond, Seven Lakes North and South, any of theirs, we would actually respond as that. We also oversee and provide training to all of our staff and members to ensure they're in compliance with local and state guidelines. During 2023, we did over 2,646 hours of training. And that could be anything from how to lift a patient to firefighter exercises, anything like that. I do a lot of the administrative duties of running the department, come into meetings, rostering audits and stuff like that. And then we also try to apply for grants where possible to help offset some of the costs. The next page is really, to me, is really kind of an interesting one. During 2023, we ran over 1,000 calls. That's 2.74 incidents per day. Of those 1,000 calls, 303, Station 65 here in Foxfire was the primary station. So 33% or 30.3% of our total calls were down here. Of the 303, 276 were within the village limits. So 91% of the calls run out of Station 65 were in the village limits. It's only 27.6% of our total, but most of the calls that we run out of here are here. Now the difference, the 20-some difference between, that's going to be our automatic aid where we are responding to Pine Bluff or Aberdeen or Pinehurst on the lower end. So, but 91% of them are here. The other thing that's interesting is the average number of personnel on each incident is 4.18. So we only have one person here, but if we have a CPR or a medical call here in the village, we are required by our county contract to have 2 EMTs on every incident. So whoever's on duty at the main station will come down here. Also on a structure fire, I used Deer Track. We had 19 of our members on the scene at deer tracks. So when you look at those numbers, you know, a vehicle accident, things like that, you know, we respond with more personnel on those types of calls. And if you have questions, please, I'll keep talking if you let me. I broke out, you know, there's a couple pie charts here, just kind of broke out the incident breakdown between the department and Station 65. And then I basically highlighted in red below, when you look at it, you know, 19 fires in Station 65's district. That's not to say there were 19 fires here, you know, working structure fires. A lot of times we get dispatched as what is known as a structure fire or an outside fire, and we get there and someone's burning in a fire pit. So, you know, there are some things that, you know, we will respond to that go out as a structure fire that don't end up being a structure fire. And there's other things that come into that. Vehicle fires, brush fires, electrical fires. We did have one, a garage that had an electrical short that went out as a structure fire, but it really was an electrical short. The important thing when you look at medical calls represent about 70% of what we respond to. In our overall district, it's about 64%. Down here, it's about 70%. Time of day. The majority of our calls, both departmental and Station 65, happen between 7 a.m. and 8 or 9 p.m. So we, you know, it makes sense. That's, you know, when people are awake and doing things. You know, we do have a good number of calls that happen in the overnight hours, and that's why we back off our personnel from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. We don't need that many personnel on duty. The breakdown, the one that I really, on this next page, what we call overlapping calls. Overlapping calls, we had 123 overlapping calls. And what that means is we're on the scene of a call and we get a second call at the same time. So when you look about, you know, where do we use our volunteers? How do we use our personnel? The volunteers really will backfill. If we're on the scene of a call, we then will, you know, respond out to the other call with backfilled people. So that's about 12%, 12.3% of our overall calls. The response area in Foxfire, it's Grand Pines. With that Lake Diamond, which is not Foxfire, but it's down this way. Renwood, the Village Core. We have 2 elementary schools, 1 middle school in our district. We have multiple churches, synagogues, multiple commercial buildings, and then multiple lakes. The bigger lakes being Lake Almond, Lake Diamond, but our smaller ponds throughout the community. Again, I've mentioned the ISO rating earlier. When I moved here in 2000, we were a Class 9. In 2002, we were rated as a Class 9. We went to a Class 5 in 2016. We're now a Class 3. Don't expect to get any lower. Lower would require a lot more personnel, but we will certainly work to maintain the Class 3 rating. And just to give you kind of a idea, Pinehurst is the only department in the county that is lower, and they have 27 full-time people. So they're a Class 2. Pine Bluff, Whispering Pines, Cranes Creek, Aberdeen, Southern Pines are all Class 3s. You kind of, as you get down towards the more municipal departments, that's where you see the line of delineation. When you get out to Seven Lakes and Eagle Springs and Robbins, they tend to be a Class 4 or 5. And you can see that on the GIS system. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. I just want to thank you so much for everything you and your volunteers and your paid staff do for the village. And again, I know you mentioned the Christmas parade and the Santa Express, and that was really, it was great to see. We got stuck behind the Santa Express going out, and it was great.
One of the things that we had, and we used it this year, but I don't think it really got out, there's a tracking where we can actually watch where he is. And that's really helpful for if you missed him. So the premise behind it is really quick. We come into a neighborhood really loud and fast, and we come out a little bit slower. The idea is that we're not trying to miss people. We're trying to get them outside, but we don't want people to sit there and have a half hour seeing them. We want it just to be a glimpse, because that just gets the excitement. But the tracker, it did work very well. People would congregate at certain intersections. But that's really, we had that on our Facebook page. But thank you.
Thank you.
Mind if I ask any questions? Anybody out there have any questions? No? I like that.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Eric.
calls of service. So far, we have got 248 citations written, and Chris is actually on the side of the road right now with somebody in handcuffs as we speak. So, I guess you struck a nerve earlier when you said he was slipping.
Get working.
I've been on the phone the last 2 days with Dodge Corporate about our all-wheel drive Charger. I have a case number and a case manager now, Lynn, who is working diligently trying to see what she can do for us. I have been working with other municipalities, whether on the phone or going and visiting, trying to find out a code as far as the parking of larger vehicles inside the village.
Any luck yet?
Not a lot. Other villages, believe it or not, don't have any ordinances on these large vehicles parking. So, trying to piece what I can together and working with Lisa as well. We're trying to, if we can't get something from somebody, come up with something on our own that we can put in place. The new Durango is in operation. Sergeant Amosquita will be driving that vehicle. I have been in contact with Bean Signs. We'll be taking it there in the next couple of days to get a picture taken of it so they can do the graphics. So hopefully we should have it striped hopefully by the end of the month, if not first week of March. I placed a new hidden driveway sign up on Woodland Circle. If nobody's seen it yet, it is up.
Looks good.
It's 'cause it's easy.
And we're working on getting the new speed signs operational.
Are you gonna be able to get different reporting off of those new signs?
Yes, they'll be just like our old ones.
So it's not gonna be different, it'll just be the same, it'll be the same
I
reporting?
haven't hooked up to them and seen if the graphs are different or not, but as far from what we understand, it should be very close to the same.
Now, there was something that Chief Shu was talking about regarding some type of device that would look at the license plates.
It is called a LPR, license plate reading.
And
What we would have to do is purchase cameras, put them throughout the village on poles. They would have their own cellular service. And what that does, that would read any license plate that goes by. It would let us know if that vehicle's stolen. If it's a fugitive from another state. It gives us all types of readings.
do we have like pricing or anything on this
I've
system?
talked
or-
with them before. It is a little bit expensive, the startup cost, but once you get that up, the licensing per camera is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have my notes on that. If I'm not mistaken, it was somewhere around $600 to $700 a year.
Mhm.
But the stuff you get back, I think is well worth it.
Well, at least on our main roads, you know?
Yeah, we would
Right.
put something up like coming in, somewhere in this area here and on the backside of the village
How
over.
about Richmond?
Yeah, what we would try to do on Richmond is maybe put something there at the intersection of Richmond and Hoffman, where it gets
Both.
both,
Mhm.
intersections right there.
How about people thinking that's a little bit invasive? Because that's what I'm thinking. I mean, if I drive down Richmond Road, I don't need to have my license plate taken a picture of. I mean, that's an open road.
Yeah. But it does, what it is, like, if we had, our biggest thing is like car break-ins or home break-in. If we knew it was a car, say a black sedan, a four-door, and we knew that two of the tag numbers was a 5 and a 4, what we could do is go back, enter those parameters, and any car that had a 5, 4, or black four-door sedan, it's got a picture of it.
I still think that is very invasive. I really do.
Well, if you're not guilty.
Make sure your
Yeah,
makeup is.
but how you travel, I mean, that's not, because that data gets stored someplace, right?
It goes into a cloud, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Other than that, that's all.
I have. I haven't seen my stop sign. Did that get put up on that one? Okay, so that did.
Yeah, that's been up for probably a month or so.
All right, now,
No, just a monitor, keyboard, and mouse, that's what we have at the other.
Okay, I need to get a, stand or something for you to, because we also have the Wi-Fi in there now too, so,
Yeah,
I'm working with Lisa, but I couldn't remember, I knew there was
as
a.
soon as we get all that, we can get it all programmed. But
Okay, so a mouse,
Janet, there's a monitor in the mayor's office.
Is there?
Behind the door. Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know what
Alright,
it's
so-
from, but,
It doesn't have to be anything nice, just something that we
okay.
can get a.
just so you
video
could, okay, and the other thing, if you could, and I don't know if somebody, I know it's, I think it's, I went in the pool, the park bathrooms this morning,
Mhm.
and I don't know who has the key, I do know there are people that have the keys to the storage area.
Mhm.
Well, I went in the bathroom and it was like a sauna in there. I don't, someone is switching those heaters on and the
We've had
heaters.
to in the past just go in the breakers and actually.
I know, but I've turned them off. The
Yeah.
problem is that someone's going in there and turning them on.
Sounds
Yeah.
like we may need to,
If you could look at the cameras,
rekey it.
yeah,
And have only certain people that has a key to that.
well, I think what we're gonna do is. I'm
And
gonna
have a
to-
sign out sheet, so that way we could go back to
Yeah,
who turned it on.
so, and that's what I'm thinking, cause, I went in there this morning,
If
and you
anything, we could
literally
get,
have to go in the storage
you know,
area.
Well, no, cause if you had a coded thing, anybody that had a code. could
Right,
get
so
access
no, I'm
to
not
it.
giving out a
Yeah,
code.
the key.
And if it's anyone, they can come and get the key from the office and turn it back in, that way we know who had access. But yeah, I don't think they realize when they turn those on, there's no, they don't go off,
No, and those things.
and it
they
could
run
start a
some
fire,
power.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, we'll probably be looking at changing those locks, okay?
oh,
Alright,
Okay.
but yeah, if, I don't know who did it, and I don't know if the camera would pick them up.
we can try, but as far as catching them going in there and coming back
It
out and
won't-
knowing it was that one person is
Yeah.
hard, but we could go back and look.
Well, I'll work on that when I get back, but, we'll get those keyed up, and,
Okay,
okay,
sounds good.
just so you know, but thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have.
Okay, next up is the water department, Councilman Morgan.
Okay, I met with Gary Samuels, and we had a long and informative meeting about the water department. And at the time, he passed along all his written notes, and we're in the process of downloading some electronic files that he had kept. We also discussed the several programs and projects that are currently underway. And I do want to thank Gary for his time and his efforts assisting me. He's been a real asset in the transition process. And finally, it's my understanding that the contract for the proposed wells has been executed and returned to the contractor, Charles Underwood Incorporated Sanford. I did have an opportunity to review the contract, and I look forward to getting on the way.
Do we have any kind of schedule from them?
Not yet, but we will.
Mhm. Okay. Any
That's all I have.
questions?
No.
No questions? On to the mayor's report. First thing, most people know by now, but I wanted to make a formal announcement that Chief Shu has retired. He's retired effective, February 1st. Chief started his career here in Foxfire in 2007 as a patrol officer, and he was promoted to chief in 2015. During that time, he was instrumental in a lot of changes in our police department and brought in the K-9 program and really brought this police department into the department we have today. So he had made a lot of contributions to the village, and we do thank him for that. We appreciate everything he did with his 16 years of service. We do wish him well. We are planning a retirement ceremony and event for him. We're just trying to get a date scheduled. We're thinking maybe later in February if the chief is available, or the retired chief, excuse me, is available. Maybe the 23rd, some Friday,
Yeah.
we think, a Friday afternoon, we're gonna have a service, retirement, and,
I reached out to him earlier, I haven't heard anything back yet.
okay,
Can't do the 23rd because we're in ethics class.
well, all day?
Yeah, the syllabus is all day.
Okay, so it can't be the 23rd, it'll have to be the 29th then.
29th probably.
Oh, good.
I get the calendar out here.
Is that the next Friday?
That would be the first.
It would be the,
First?
March 1 is the next,
Okay. All right,
I'll get with him,
March
March one.
okay, so. Next on my list, is, there's an incident that occurred, basically last week. It was on February 6th, and this is regarding the appearance of people acting as agents of Foxfire Village. What had happened is that a woman entered the county permitting department asking for information on acquiring a building permit for work to be performed on the Foxfire pool. The woman stated that she was getting bids to redo the Foxfire pool and presented a copy of the quote to the Foxfire, in Foxfire's name for work to be performed. Since the work detailed on the quote didn't require a permit, a call was made to the village council person, Janet Norman, responsible for the pool, requesting why someone from the village was requesting a building permit. This caused us in the village great concern, myself, since it appeared that someone was acting as an agent of the village. On February 7th, which is the very next day, Lisa Kivett and I went to the permitting department to speak specifically to the people who talked to this woman. And the permitting technician, as well as the supervisor there, stated that this woman presented herself as an agent of Foxfire, didn't identify herself as a concerned citizen, because they have forms for people who are, have questions, concerned citizens. They have forms that you can fill out and write your concern down. I just want to make sure people understand that there is a law, a North Carolina general statute. It's 14-277, and it's unlawful for any person other than a duly authorized employee of a county or a municipality to represent any person that they are duly authorized employee of a county or a municipality. And that acting upon such a representation to perform any act or make any investigation is not allowed. And there are consequences for that, but I urge people to be careful about how they go to, whether it's places of business or the county or any office. If you're a citizen requesting information, that's fine, but you need to identify yourself as a citizen, not identify yourself or present yourself as an agent of Foxfire Village and acting on behalf of Foxfire Village. So I want to make sure people understand that. Very important. Next thing, and this, it isn't on my, it isn't on here, but I did receive, and I think if I receive additional emails, I will present them in the same way. But no different than someone getting up and asking a question at a meeting. So on February 12th, which was yesterday, I received an email from Foxfire resident Sandy Cameron concerning 3 items. There were 3 questions on the email. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to address those questions in this meeting. So the first question is the council working on obtaining a second opinion or additional estimates on the pool repair? And the answer to that is no, we are not. We have received and approved the estimate from Southern Pines Pool Service, as Councilwoman Norman informed us in a couple of last meeting or the meeting before. She went through the person that we have used for our pool for years and who has done an excellent job, Southern Pines Pool Service. The fact that our pool is as old as it is and still running well is a testament to that man's work, his knowledge, and his service on our pool. The contractor did request, and just so you know, the rules for repairs on for governments for quotes. This $72,000 quote falls under something called the informal bid process. Now, informal bids, if the way I understand them and the way it's been presented to me by numerous pieces of documents that I've received, is that you do not need, there is no minimum number of quotes to get. So there's no minimums. You can get a verbal quote, you can have received pricing over the phone, you can have a physical quote. Southern Pines Pool Service, who is our certified pool operator, did get different quotes. He got one from Carolina Pool and Plastering, who is going to be doing the work. And the other one was from Pearl Plastering. Now, Pearl Plastering was 40% higher than Carolina Pool Plastering. Now, Carolina Pool Plastering is also the company that did the work previously. They've also done the work on the expansion joint. So, to answer your first question, we are not getting another quote. We feel very confident that this person is doing the right job at the right price for us. Second question is, has anyone checked on the cost to replace the pool? And as noted in our long-range plan, that is one thing that we are going to explore. There is a lot involved in this, and if people aren't aware, there's something called North Carolina Municipal Pool Operations Guide. It's a 35-page document that is very, very detailed on what you need to do to maintain, to run, to develop or design a new pool, to run an existing pool. So this is not a project where you can just go to your local pool store and say, hey, I want to put in a 50,000 square foot pool. You can't do that, and even if you did, you'd be wasting your time because it's not an engine. You have to go to the state with an engineered plan to put a new pool in. So I just want people to understand that we know what we're doing. We have a plan for what we're doing, and it's going to your local pool. We have to go to commercial builders again. It's we've got to go to people who build pools for communities, for clubs, for hotels. So it's in the plan, and we have not gotten to that. And the other thing is that based on the repairs that we will be doing to this pool, our pool could have a life of another 5-10 years. We don't know that. So we've got to be very careful as to how we spend our money, because when we do, if we even do, decide to replace the pool, which is not a decision anyone's made yet, it could be years down the road. But we also, based on community input, get some other comments on what else we might want, or what we would want that pool to look like. So, or do we want a pool there at all? I mean, we're very open on what the future for Foxfire is. So I don't want to just paint ourselves into, we're gonna replace the pool and it's gonna look just like it looks right now. I don't think that's a good decision. The third question was, is the company that fixed the leak coming back to repair the current leak at no charge to Foxfire? And the answer to that is that the company that filled the expansion joint is the same company that's doing the work this time around. So to answer that question, yes, they are coming back. It is the same contractor. And the problem with who's gonna pay for it, the fix, is that they don't know what the root cause of the leak is right now. There could be a structural problem with the pool. It could be any number of reasons. But until the root cause is investigated, to determine if it's workmanship or something structural, we can't even put a contractor in that position. So we're gonna have to wait and see. If there is a charge, I'm sure they would work with us, since they've been a reliable contractor for us, and also it would be minimal. we're talking hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars for that repair. But again, we need to find out if, because it's unusual that it would leak. So they have to drill it out, look at it, and see if they can determine why it's leaking. So that's the answers to that, and I hope that satisfies the question. So I received this on the 12th, and today's the 13th, so. And if there are questions, if I do get questions, from the community, I will address them in future meetings. And I think that's the best way to do that, since everyone gets to, get the answers and know what people are asking. So, I think that's the last thing I have. So any questions for me?
No. Thank you.
Okay. Now we have public comment for items,
Other people?
Listen,
I'm sorry, what?
listen.
Yes, that we're on this agenda.
Sandy Karen, 50 Richmond Road. In regards to the person that went to the permit office, that was me. I never, ever said that I was representing the village. When I walked in, I said, I'm a concerned resident, period. I said I had questions, I would like somebody to explain to me the way that the permits are done. And the person who gave me the answers was not there.
Was not what?
Was not there at that time. So I asked the lady if I could come back. She said that was fine, you'd be back in a half hour. So during that time when I left, she explained to him why I was there. I wasn't there when she had this conversation. So when I came back, she put me in a room, he came in, I explained who I was. I never, ever said I wanted a permit. I never said that I represented the village. So that was a miscommunication there. He even asked me if I wanted to fill out the form to get a permit. I said, no, that's not me, that's the village. I just want to get clarification on what it takes to get the permit. So, that whole thing, you know, I don't know why nobody didn't call me, because I'm sure you knew who it was. That's all.
Any other?
Norma Carpenter, 71 Richmond Road. I was on the council where I came from, and we changed from collecting our own taxes to having the county do it. Made a tremendous difference in our office flow. Took a lot of stuff off the staff, and it was well worth it. So it took a while it was a hard decision to make, but it really worked out very well. I just want to let you know, that was in Union County, over near Sharp.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanna make one comment, based on Sandy's statement. We did not know, because no one identified the person in the office, so I did not know, I was not told who the person was, so I just wanna say that I didn't know that it was you.
I told them my name and that I was a concerned resident.
I
I told the person at the door, the first person I talked to.
They didn't, either they didn't remember that your name, or they forgot that you did that. That was never stated. And again, I just wanna make sure people understand that, we have to be careful about that, because miscommunications happen. So. One thing, I did kinda jump over to public comment, and we didn't go through long-range plan, but we don't really have any updates on the long-range plan, and we need to redo that section of Because there are specific tasks for each person, for the long-range plan, and that was left off this. So we will continue that.
It's gonna take me a while to get over this.
All right,
But
Yes.
Sharon and I sat down with Joe Garrison today, who is from Southern Software, you know, they manage our FMS system. And he talked us through what we might consider doing. It will require us to store no data. The data will be stored by the processor, who of course is PCI compliant. But he said that they're fully integrated with one processor. They're gonna have them call me, we're gonna set up like a sales call. But it would give residents the option to go online, they could either pay by e-check, they could pay by debit card, or they could pay by credit card. We won't store any data, we just get a download, you pop it in there, people can pay more, they can pay less, however they wanna do it. And it sounds like almost pretty much what we're looking for, and I'll put a full brief together, but it allows residents to choose what they wanna do.
and I'm assuming that the charges, whether they're like credit card charges, we still get our bill amount, they charge their fee.
Yeah, because we're offering e-check and debit,
Mhm.
any credit card service fees would need to be borne by the resident. If
Right.
we were only offering one payment option, that would be different, but you're gonna have 3 payment options.
And they probably have a fee associated with it.
And I need to get all that, but
Right.
it kinda moved us, it kinda solidified how I think we probably ought to move forward with it.
Good,
I do have one more thing regarding the long-range plan,
yes,
because under infrastructure, where was it? Regarding paving,
yeah,
well, I went to a paving conference for
Mhm.
asphalt companies a couple weeks ago, and met in representatives from 4 other paving companies that are willing to come down to Foxfire. Also spoke to 2 gentlemen about the fact that our paving plan, was it 2015 or 2005?
it was old.
Yeah, okay, and I told them how old it was, and, they would be willing to come down, go through our streets and give us a cost for a new paving program.
Mm-hmm.
One gentleman mentioned it might be, again, guesstimate, $2,500, $3,000, and that's a guesstimate. So I think we should look into that,
Mm-hmm.
our next go around.
Yes, okay, yeah, we'll get this better, our work session, actually, this definitely will be on our work session agenda.
Okay, yeah.
So
but
whatever you're working
I
on,
think we should do that, because, our roads certainly have changed since the last time.
yes, they have.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, all right. Any new business?
Not me?
Old business? None. We had our public comment period, I'm sorry about that. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.